So just like the title says, I got owned by Facebook today. I was being a little bit stubborn, and whichever way I took it, I ended up losing on it. The last short wasn't really that bad. I probably could have made a little bit of money out of it. I didn't feel like sticking with it. I said I'll just take what I currently have, and I will just be out. So we'll talk about the trades today on Market Open Trading. Stay tuned. What's up, guys? It's Miguel with Market Open. So let's talk about the trades that I took today. I did okay on KNX and TSEM. But as you guys can see here, I have a big fat loss on Facebook, and that is actually two different trades. Alright, so now let's look at the trade that I took on NLSN. So it says 937, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I took it here on this candle, so 937. It looks like I actually got a decent fill. Well, not a decent fill. It broke down and then it spiked up, and I got filled right at 2190. So my stop was actually going to be up here at 2238. So let's see here. So it broke, as you can see here on the 5-minute. I took it on the 5-minute. So as you can see here on the 5-minute, it actually broke down and it came right back up. So I ended up getting out with a $72 loss. So I got filled literally 1 minute later and kicked me out at 2214. Right in here. Oh, actually, you know what it was? Since I took it here on the 5-minute, it broke down. It broke down. It was, the candle was red. That's what it was. The candle was red in that instance, and it actually broke down, and then it flashed back up, and the candle turned green because it's a 5-minute candle. So, which kind of shows these candles right here. All right. So that's why that my stop was like so close. All right. Now, the next trade was on KNX. So right here, KNX. Yeah, that typically doesn't happen on NLS or NLSN. Typically, whenever the candle goes red and breaks below the lows, the candle usually stays red. But in that instance, it actually came back, turned green, and then went higher. Let's see here. So the next trade I took was on KNX. Right here, basically exactly the same thing. And just a 5-minute breakdown, it pulled back. So this is typically of what happens on something like this. So it'll pull back, break down below the lows, candle will stay red, and then we'll keep going. So I took 200 shares short right here as it broke down at 29.89. I got it filled right at 29.89, and I covered some at 29.14 all the way down here. So covered 100 shares and another 50 at 29.08. And then I believe I got kicked out the rest. So let's see, KNX, 29.23 is when I took the rest. So on KNX, I ended up making, I think, $150. So somewhere around there, I made $150. So I was 1.5 times my risk, just piecing out of it. I wanted to get out of it somewhere down here at 29, but it flashed up too quickly. So I knew that there was support. You could see it on the level 2. There's people just sitting there waiting to buy the whole number. So the next trade was Facebook. First trade on Facebook. Trash. That's all I can say. It was just trash. So right here, basically the opposite of the breakdown is the break up. So over the 5-minute candle, so it pulled back a little bit, 177.50. And my entry was over the high of this candle. So actually, I think I got it in over 179. Yep. 179.34, unfortunately, was my fill. And boom, right here, got kicked out. So right at 940, so this candle got filled. And as you can see, I got kicked out here in this candle. So I ended up taking more of a loss than I wanted. It was 140 or something like that. I don't remember exactly because I took 2 different longs on this. So this right here says that it was a long. Just this blue color saying that it was a long. And if it's red, it means that it was a short. Let me close the door. All right, so that means that that was a short. So as you guys can see, I basically only made money on the shorts. But yeah, so I ended up taking this, lost, let's just say $140, $150 or something like that. I just got a bad fill on it. I wanted to get in over 79. I got in at 179.34. I didn't use a limit order because I did not have time to use a limit order and try to type it in. It was just not happening. This thing, as you guys can see, Facebook right here is actually flashing all over the place. So it was moving very fast this morning at the open. So I just used an order and just got in. I knew that my stop was going to be here. So I knew I was risking a little bit more than $100. So whatever, after I got in, I was going to go ahead and measure it and just see how much money I was actually risking. So I knew it wasn't that big of a share size, but it's just I got a terrible fill on it, which unfortunately gave me that bigger loss on it. All right, so during the time I was in Facebook, I also took another trade on TSEM here. Actually, no, it was right after I got kicked out. So TSEM, I think this trade was definitely a lot better. So TSEM didn't give me a chance to get in this morning, and this little pullback right here is not enough. It was just not enough for me to try and get into. I usually want it pulling back 30 to 50% of the way, and then I'll take the breakdown. But this was just not enough. It broke down, it came down, and it was just too fast. I needed another pullback. So on TSEM, it was also gapping down. It was gapping down below the 52-week low, which gave me a clear shot to, straight to whatever the next level of support, which typically a lot of the times I don't really mark them out, because if you gap down below 52-week lows, I know that investors are going to start bailing out. But as you can see here, this thing went straight to 20. So I knew 20 was going to be a magnet. And right here, it doesn't really look the best on the 5-minute chart, but what I ended up doing, typically I don't do this, but I knew it was going to look good because it was bouncing right in that area. You'll see here, comes back up and over 21, bounce, 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 and it was just sitting there. So I was like, okay, let me flip over to the 1-minute chart and see what it looks like. So I went ahead and put my stop up here at 21.20, and I said if it breaks down below the whole number, I'm going to go ahead and take it. So I took 500 shares short right here at $20.99 with my stop 20 cents away, so I'm risking about $100. Now, TSEM, you'll see I parted out here at 20.77. So went sideways for a little bit. Boom, drop. Probably covered here. So covered half at 10.12. So right here I covered half and I just started piecing it out. So TSEM took another 125 at 10.25. So down here, as it was bouncing around 20.50, let's see, I took another 65 at 20.24. So down here, and then I got kicked out the rest. Actually, I put a stop at 20.51 just in case it came back over, and it actually ended up rocketing back up. And yeah, I got kicked out the rest, but I did book a profit of $170 on that. So I was initially risking only $100, but I ended up getting $170. So that is the advantage of piecing out what you have left on the trade. So if it goes and it continues in the direction that you expect it to, you'll end up making more money, because after 1-to-1, I just put my stop loss at break even, and then from there on, it's a free trade. Let's see here, TSEM. Alright, so that was a short on TSEM. Alright, Facebook again. I went back to Facebook. Right here. Okay. Honestly, I don't regret this trade at all, because look at this thing. So it's a good flag. It came up and over, so it bounced here twice. So this is what I saw. Right there. So this is what I saw. I saw a double bounce at 176, so obviously we have support. And the next candle to make a new high over 177.50 was going to be my entry. So boom, got triggered, stop was 176. Alright, cool. So right here at 10.02. So within this candle, it came up, but as you can see, it immediately came right back to 176. So it kept bouncing and bouncing and bouncing and made a lower high. So right here. So I took that trend line away, went from here to here, bam. Okay, and I said, okay, well, we're making lower highs. It needs to come back over the last lower high for it to work. And so I said, all right, well, let me try and get out of this the best that I can. So unfortunately, I didn't get out here on this bounce, which would have gave me maybe like a $20-$30 loss. But it immediately came back down to 176. I saw probably over 50,000. It was over 53,000 shares that were being bought at 176. But that thing it lost it and it just tanked. I got out right before it actually broke down. I knew it was gonna be bad. So right, where to go? So short. Yeah, so in the midst of this panic, I actually bought another. I bought another 170 or 75 shares, and I said, "Oh crap, this thing's about to collapse, and I'm about to lose a lot of money." So I pushed position and I push sell. So that brings my total on the longs on Facebook to a whopping 273. So, and then what I wanted to do is actually I wanted to short it as it broke down below 176. So I tried to put out an order at 175.99, but by then it just collapsed and it came down to 175 basically. Just went straight down to 175. Huh. Look at Facebook. All right. Well, that's actually the reason why I got out. I was afraid that was going to happen. All right. So yeah. So 273 on Facebook. Peacing out. Feel like that's KNX. Nope. All right. So I did take another trade on. So I took another trade on KNX. So right here. Right here. Yep. So at 1017. So right here. Should have been right here. Yep. So you guys will notice that I took this first initial trade. I got it at 29. I was waiting for the VWAP bounce or a VWAP rejection. And it was a little iffy here. I usually like for it to touch VWAP, get immediately to rejected, not to climb on top of the 9 and VWAP. Because it doesn't work as well. So I was going to take a 50 shares or a risk $50, but then I decided no, this thing's actually coming down with force right here, and so I'm going to take the full 300 shares. So I shorted 300 shares right at 1017, which is this candle right here. And so I basically just needed 30 cents. So KNX, you'll see here that actually I got filled 150 shares right at 29.28. So I got my 1-to-1, then I put my stop loss at break even. So you'll see here I got 50 bucks, and then I got kicked out break even. So then that brings my total to 204. So I made $150 on the first trade, and then I made $50, and then I broke even on the second half because it didn't continue in the way that I thought it was going to. Now, let's talk about the last Facebook trade that I took, which was actually this short. So let's see here. So like I was saying earlier, is I wanted to short it right at 176, but it just collapsed. It collapsed $1, and I didn't want to chase it. So now, if something collapses like that, you can wait for it to pull back. If you wait for this thing to pull back, because once support breaks, it should become resistance. So after this broke, a lot of the times it'll come back, retest it, and then head lower. But now, so in this candle, it collapsed $1, and then it came back. So I put out a limit order at 175.90. Anything over 175.90, it'll fill me. My stop was, I took 75 shares. My stop was going to be up here at 177.60. So you'll see I shorted it right, not there. Nope. Where did I go short on Facebook? Nope. Right here at 1039. So right at 1039, right here in this candle. As you can see, it came back down to 175, but I at least needed $1.50. So I needed 174.40 or 45 for me to get my 1-to-1 at least. But I noticed that it didn't break in this candle right here. It came back up with kind of a lot of force. And it started heading back. It broke up above VWAP, and then it bounced, and it came lower. It bounced again, not making a lower low, which means that there is support now there at 175. So as it was coming back, I said, okay, I've already lost a lot of money on Facebook today. Let me just get out of this thing. So I took all 75 shares right at 175.95. I lost $3. Not a big deal, because what I said is this thing, I was afraid that this thing was going to come right back. Because if you're making lower lows and then it starts curling back up and you make a higher low, then that means that the trend is changing and you're going to start heading higher. So the entry for this would have been here at 176.70. So to me, this trend is now broken and it looks like it's going to start heading higher. So I went ahead and hopped out. So I am up $24 on the day, but that's completely irrelevant. It's just I would have done really well if I had not have been so stubborn on Facebook. I'm sure a lot of you guys saw Netflix the other day. I'll pull it up real quick. So Netflix tanked after hours, but it got bought immediately back up, and I was thinking that's what was going to happen. So Netflix, where was it? It's a few days ago. See if I can go back a little further. There it is. So Netflix, it was on the 17th. So Netflix gapped down on earnings. It was horrible. And it gapped down all the way from 400 to 340. That's a lot for Netflix. But it's one of those FANG stocks. So Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Google, FANG. So which means that it's one of those stocks that people and investors will try to get into at a very, very cheap price. So as soon as they saw this was a gift from God for most investors. So they literally just hopped in and it just rode up all day, and it gained basically most of its gap down. So it came all the way back to 385. So $15 away from where it initially gapped down. And I was thinking that the same thing was going to happen on Facebook, but boy, was I wrong. I was going to try and ride this thing up all day, and it just ended up not working out. This thing it's kind of choppy now. I'm not going to touch it. I'm glad that I'm at least not red for the day. It is my 4th green day in a row. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Tuesday was also pretty small. It was a pretty small day. There was not a lot of movers on this day. Today we actually had a very large watch list, and it was kind of hard to keep a track on everything. But I did make the other trades on KNX and TSEM count to be able to cover for my Facebook trade. So tomorrow is Friday, the last trading day of the week. Usually volume dries up pretty fast, so you have to be diligent about that. So get in and out of your positions, and yeah, just be done and start the weekend off early. If you guys have any questions, like I always tell you guys, just leave it down in the comment section below. If you guys are on Facebook, make sure that you guys join our Facebook group. We have over 11,000 members. Also, if you guys want to learn how to trade and get basically a guide from A through Z, how to become profitable and have one-on-one mentoring with me, make sure that you guys check out marketopentrading.com. All right, guys, I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.